Yeah, great. I thought we'd talk about interviews for product managers. Seems to be
Absolutely.
always a hot topic. And
Yeah.
there's two aspects to an interview for a product manager, obviously, because there's the interviewing someone, right? How do you make sure you're getting the right candidate? And there's also what it's like to prepare for the interview yourself as a candidate. But maybe I could start then with you've been in a position where you've interviewed people to be a product manager. What are the kind of things that you're looking for when you interview someone for that role?
So somebody who enjoys really understanding the customer perspective, someone who will talk passionately about user needs, the age-old thing of strategic thinking. So someone who can look, many quarters into the future. I think we've talked in the past about, it's about building the right product and features for the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
And that time factor is, really important. You could have a feature or a problem to solve that is really pressing, but that you don't need to do right now. So someone who can think strategically and go, oh, actually, I don't need to tackle that until these other pieces are in place first. People often forget about marketing savvy. So, we've talked about various stages in product management, and, the last thing, you can build a feature, but you need to be able to do that internal marketing sometimes, or, obviously if it's an externally facing feature, sell that to your customer base. Business acumen is really important. And I think we might talk about this later, but, increasingly, if you're working on a software product, a technical product, you need some technical acumen.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be really deep. You don't need to be an engineer or have been an engineer in the past, but being able to converse in a really nice, concise way with engineers. That kind of age-old thing of translating between the business and engineering and backwards the other way around. Someone who is, and this depends on the domain, of course. So I've worked in media for a large portion of my career. So, I have a deep passion for the media industry, and, follow various publications, and I'm actively reading, every day still, even though I'm not working in the media industry today. I'm still reading about the media industry every day because it interests me. So someone who has a passion for the domain, if you want to go and work for a crypto startup, you should have a passion for crypto or blockchain. If you want to work for a media company, the same. If you want to work in travel, you should have some, it's not totally critical, but I think it does make a difference if you have a passion for the domain you're working in.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't want to make people happy all the time. As a product manager, you are going to be, if you want to make people happy and you don't want to deal with conflict, it's probably not a role for you. And being a product manager requires, you have to put a process in place, because you're funneling requirements from internal stakeholders. You've got kind of customer feedback, you've got research, you've got all these different inputs, and you need to be able to kind of take the output of those sources, funnel them into some process that's understood by everyone that you're working with, so that they know how to get things raised with you and your team, to have a simple process to get things through the funnel, and then, determine which things are going to go into discovery, actually do that discovery phase. It's not waterfall, but it's important to have that there before you start building things. So being a product manager is also about removing risk as upfront and early as possible. I think a lot of people forget about, you need to have a short analysis phase for everything. It could be a day, it could be a few hours, it could be a week or longer. It depends on what you're building. So conflict resolution and the ability to solve problems creatively. So increasingly, I'm kind of really interested in no code and low code solutions, and we're reaching a point now where there are so many kind of solved problems. There are like really, really well-funded startups and massive companies that have solved certain problems. So there's no point in resolving those problems. You're never going to do it as well as a company who is investing all their time in it, but you can increasingly stitch these things together.
Yeah.
So that build versus buy thing, you know, increasingly it's not about going and buying a fully fledged solution. It's about going and buying different bits of things that you can stitch together to solve a problem much quicker than you otherwise would do if you built it yourself. And you've got to remember you've got the maintenance of that thing afterwards as well. So,
so I guess you're also outsourcing the maintenance of it if you buy a piece, aren't you? Of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one example of creative thinking. It could also, you know, equally you could be building something yourself. It might just be a process. It doesn't need to be software that you're building.
So you've got some classic things there, which I would absolutely say are core to the role. I mean, if I was interviewing someone, I'd want them to be able to say, as product, you know, they obsess about the customer. I'd want them to be thinking about the problem that they're trying to solve. They've got to speak the language of the business and the users. They've got to be creative. They can't be afraid of conflict. I mean, there's some classic things there. One of the things that bothers me is, for example, if I'm working for a large corporate and I'm interviewing, one of the things that will happen is there will be almost certainly internal recruiters. And I've sometimes been in a situation where, you know, I've just been given a CV. You know, Ed, here's a CV. The candidate's going to be here in 3/4 of an hour. Are you free? And you just go, oh, well, all right. And you find yourself sitting in a room with a stranger and a piece of paper. One of the things that I see quite a lot is that I'm not getting any of that because mistakenly I am getting project managers put in front of me as opposed to product managers, and that seems really common. What are the things that you look for to weed out the project managers from the product managers when they come in?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, so you want to be looking for those traits of someone who is user focused, customer centric. So you know, you could start asking questions around, here's a bottle of water. How would you improve this product for me?
Yeah.
And if the person goes into, you know, well, who am I improving this product for? And then you know, you can give a response and kind of give them a target audience, and then they can go, okay, fine. So knowing that it's that kind of person, I would go down this route. If they start answering that way, you know you've got someone who is potentially a really good product manager. If they go in a completely different way around, you know, well, I would have to go and talk to, you know, bottle manufacturers or whatever, you know, maybe you've got someone who's not really right for the role. So someone who really starts out by trying to understand who it is that they're solving the problem for. And takes it down that route.
Yeah, good. So, I mean, I think that's a really good, you know, just a sort of appraisal of what we're looking for. You know, and there's going to be lots of stuff in the text below this video that kind of goes through that. But I think this is really good for people just to talk it through. So, a couple of things from me just to wrap up. There is a big difference between a product manager and a project manager. Certainly, you know, project management for me always seems to be about that iron triangle of scope, time and budget, and people that are worried about such things, whereas product is definitely about the user and is about the problem that we're trying to solve. So, you know, they are two different things and you need to be looking for those two different things. Nico, I really massively appreciate you helping us with this. Thanks.
No worries, pleasure to be on board. Thank you.
Thanks.